Chosen one, you did not stumble upon this moment by chance. The heavens themselves have aligned your path to meet this very message at the exact divine moment. This is no coincidence. This is destiny. The Spirit of God has paused your scroll, interrupted your flow, and led you here because you are standing at the threshold of a supernatural turning point. Anointed one, the time appointed for you has arrived. As written in Habakkuk 2, verse 3, the vision awaits its appointed time, though it linger, wait for it. It will surely come, it will not delay. That time is not far off. It's not someday, it's now. This very day, this very hour, your Kairos moment has begun. The divine clock has struck alignment between heaven's promise and your destiny. You have sensed it. The gentle pull, the sacred anticipation, the quiet knowing that something beyond understanding is about to unfold. Heaven has already spoken. Even now, the sound of victory resounds across your life. What the enemy meant to bury you with, God has transformed into fertile soil of your breakthrough. Chosen one, steady your heart, for heaven is laughing, not with mockery, but with triumph. That holy laughter means your deliverance has already been set in motion. Hear this deep in your spirit. What you did today may have looked simple, unnoticed, ordinary, yet in heaven it thundered. It carried eternal weight. It reached the throne of God, and when it did, he laughed, not the laughter of ridicule, but the powerful laugh of a Father who already knows a victory ending. That sound was the announcement. Your battle has been won. Your destiny remains unshaken. Anointed one, you often see yourself through human eyes, too slow, too flawed, too far behind. You replay the failures, the missed chances, the moments you wish you were stronger. But heaven measures differently. Where you see weakness, God sees bravery. Where you see a small seed, he already beholds a mighty forest. Where you whisper a trembling prayer through tears, he hears the roar of faith that shakes realms. I too have walked through those unseen seasons, when prayers felt fragile, forgiveness felt unfair, and hope felt distant. But every quiet act, every unseen moment of endurance, was never wasted. It was thunder in the heavens, and heaven has already responded. Chosen one, I held on to hope when despair felt easy to believe. And in that place, God kept reminding me, even the smallest yes holds eternal weight. A single hidden act of obedience can echo through generations yet unborn. That is why heaven erupted in holy laughter over you today. Never take this moment lightly. You didn't just make it through another day. You interrupted the enemy's blueprint. You stood firm when everything in you wanted to fall. You spoke when silence seemed safer. You moved when fear screamed freeze. That fragile act of obedience reached heaven, and heaven rejoiced. Picture a toddler's first steps. Shaky, uncertain, ready to tumble. The parent doesn't scold. The parent celebrates because movement has begun. That's exactly how God looked at you today. The very fact that you are still here is living testimony. The enemy's attack wasn't random. It was strategic. It came to quiet your prayers, bury your hope, and convince you that heaven had gone silent. But here you are, breathing, seeking, still listening. That alone is victory. Every breath you take declares, the plan against me has failed. Each time you rise again, each moment you choose faith even when your voice trembles, heaven laughs because the enemy lost. Again, your existence is not mere survival. It's divine evidence that God's hand still holds you. And if the enemy couldn't stop you yesterday, imagine the panic and hell over what God is preparing to release through you tomorrow. This is why the small things matter. The quiet obedience, the unseen yes, the hidden surrender. Heaven's economy doesn't mirror Earth's. The world celebrates the loud, the visible, the promoted, but God celebrates the secret, the whispered prayer no one heard, the forgiveness no one thought possible, the sacrifice that broke your heart but never drew applause. Every one of those moments is recorded in eternity. Each one shakes the foundation of darkness. I've lived it myself. Those seasons I thought were wasted became the very ones heaven multiplied. The secret was never in what was seen, but in the yes whispered through tears. The seed of faith no one noticed. That became the hinge of breakthrough. And today, chosen one, you've planted seed the enemy cannot uproot. seeds of faith, of courage, of resilience, seeds that will outlive you, bearing fruit in generations you may never meet. Heaven has already moved. God has already laughed. And that laugh means momentum has shifted. If only your eyes could see what just shifted in the unseen, you'd never doubt again. What looked ordinary here roared like thunder in eternity. What felt like a whisper became a declaration before the throne. Hold this truth close. Chosen one, the very trap designed to bury you has turned into the ground of your rising. Heaven's laughter isn't quiet. It's powerful. It's a decree that says, this battle is finished. The outcome is shifting. The tide is turning. And divine favor is already flowing your way. The enemy watched you closely, mapped your patterns, studied your hesitation, built traps around your weariness. He counted on your exhaustion. But today, something shifted. You broke the cycle. You gave when you had nothing left to give. You rose when every force expected you to collapse. You spoke truth when silence felt safer. And that single act triggered a chain reaction in the unseen, one far beyond your understanding. It was like a game of chess, the enemy confident, smiling, convinced of his victory. But your unexpected move overturned the entire board. And that is why God laughed. Because he saw what the enemy never accounted for. You, anointed one. Heaven doesn't wait for grand gestures. Heaven responds to faith. Heaven responds to purity. Heaven responds to truth. One whispered yes, sincere, quiet, unseen, carries more power than 1,000 empty words. One hidden act of integrity weighs heavier in eternity than 100 public performances. So stop minimizing who you are. Stop believing your obedience only counts when it's visible. Stop comparing your path to the filtered stories of others. Heaven is not impressed by noise. It treasures depth. And today, heaven saw that depth alive within you. You may feel unseen. You may think you're merely surviving. But hear this, survival is not small. Survival is sacred. Every breath declares, the plan against me has failed. Every trembling step forward whispers, I am still standing. Chosen one, remember, what was sent to destroy you has already failed. That alone makes your life a victory. But God is declaring something greater. This new season is not about survival anymore. It is about acceleration. When heaven laughs, it's not casual amusement. It's a signal. It means the ground beneath you is beginning to yield the harvest you prayed for. The laughter of God is not reaction. It is revelation. It is divine announcement. That sound shakes the invisible realms. It declares, the tide has turned. Chains that looked eternal are cracking. Doors that resisted for years are trembling open. Timelines are bending toward fulfillment. His laughter over your life is proof. You've entered a new season. Anointed one, never underestimate the power of your endurance. You often call it weakness, but heaven calls it warfare. Every breath you take is an act of defiance against darkness. Every sunrise you witness is heaven's headline. The plan against them has failed. I know this place, the valley where rising feels impossible. I've lived through mornings that felt like battles and nights where prayer was only a whisper. I've chosen hope while drowning in uncertainty. And later, God revealed, those fragile moments carried eternal weight. Heaven noticed what earth ignored. My sighs were songs. My tears became seeds. My weakness was rewritten as courage. And so it is with you, chosen one. Heaven has already laughed. The shift has already begun. Your endurance has become your victory. Your obedience has rewritten your story. And this is what heaven sees in you right now. Chosen one. Understand the sacred truth. Heaven celebrates the beginning, not just the end. The world applauds the finish line, the trophies, the spotlight. But heaven rejoices at the first step forward. That trembling yes you offered today was enough to shake eternity. That fragile act of faith carried weight beyond measure. And God laughed, not because it was small, but because he already knows how far this one step will carry you. The world worships visibility. People praise what they can count and display. But heaven treasures the unseen. A prayer whispered in the dark can shatter generational curses. Forgiveness offered in silence can unlock doors for descendants not yet born. A sacrifice that drew no applause can become the seed of supernatural abundance. Do not despise the hidden places, for heaven magnifies what earth ignores. Anointed one, imagine ripples on still water. A single stone falls. The splash seems small, almost forgettable, but the ripples travel far beyond what eyes can trace. Your obedience today was that stone. The splash looked ordinary, but heaven saw the waves racing through eternity. Angels moved into motion. Seeds buried long ago began to rise through the soil. Gates that were sealed started grown open. What felt unnoticed in the natural has already shaken the unseen. When God laughed, it was heaven's declaration. The game is over. The enemy thought he had you figured out. He mapped your habits, studied your delays, fed your fatigue, and built traps from your hesitation. He expected your silence to return. But today you didn't fold. You broke the pattern. You rose where collapse was expected. You gave when emptiness echoed. You trusted while fear screamed louder. And that move, that single act, overturned the entire strategy of hell. The enemy smirked, convinced of victory. But your unexpected obedience flipped the entire board. And God laughed, because he saw what the enemy never imagined. Chosen one, this revelation shifts how you walk. When heaven laughs over your life, you stop shrinking. You stop crawling in guilt. You stop asking permission to exist. You stop measuring your journey by someone else's timeline. Heaven's laughter is divine assurance. It says, you are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are exactly where grace designed you to be. Acceleration always follows heaven's laughter. Yesterday was survival. Today begins increase. The ground beneath your feet is alive with change. The seeds you sowed in tears are breaking through with joy. What appeared buried is beginning to bloom. God does not laugh without purpose. His laughter is not amusement. It is announcement. It means breakthrough isn't on the way. It's already begun. Think of your long nights, the silence that stretched like years, the unanswered questions, the seasons of waiting. Every single one was a seed. Those seeds didn't die. They were hidden, preparing for rain. And now heaven's laughter is that rain. The laugh of God is his decree. Now is the appointed time. Chosen one, remember, your obedience carries generational weight. What you did today will echo through your bloodline. Children you may never meet will walk through doors opened by your faith. Families will live in freedom because you whispered yes. Communities will be blessed because you endured. Heaven laughs because God already sees a legacy your obedience has released. Anointed one, hold this revelation tightly. You are not just surviving. You are carrying destiny inside you. You are the continuation of promises spoken long before your birth. And heaven is laughing because a victory has already begun to unfold. Heaven's laughter is not merely the sound of divine joy. It is eternal assurance that your existence carries meaning far beyond the visible present, a sacred reminder that even in moments of confusion or silence, the orchestration of heaven is still at work on your behalf. And that is precisely why you must learn to still the noise of doubt within your mind, why you must stop belittling the slow but steady progress of your own growth. For every quiet step you take forward is proof that your journey is advancing under divine supervision. Every breath you take is evidence that heaven's timeline for your life has not failed, and every unseen victory is being witnessed by the one who laughs not at your weakness, but in triumph over every obstacle that dare to stand in your path. So lift your head, chosen one, for the laughter of heaven now surrounds you like an invisible fortress, a radiant shield of joy that cannot be penetrated by fear or failure. Carry this laughter deep within your heart. Let it rise above the anxious whisper of insufficiency. Let it drown out every lie that says you are not ready, not worthy, not enough. And remember, each time your soul trembles under the weight of uncertainty, that the King of Glory has already laughed, and his divine laughter is the eternal seal upon your victory, the heavenly proclamation that your story is not over, but shifting into acceleration. For the laughter of God is never just celebration. It is activation. It is a spark that sets the machinery of destiny in motion, releasing unseen movements in the spiritual realm that no power of darkness can reverse, shifting the atmosphere in your favor until even the ground beneath your feet begins to prepare itself for your increase, until the things that were delayed begin to move, the doors that were locked start to open, and the crooked paths before you straighten under divine order. This laughter has already gone before you, making a way where there seemed to be none, aligning the unseen pieces of your story into a tapestry of purpose that will one day make you weep with gratitude. And this is why, Anointed One, you must never despise the season of waiting, never mistake the stillness for rejection, never confuse delay with denial. For what you thought was heaven's silence was actually heaven's instruction, a divine preparation where God was fortifying your spirit in secret, building within you the endurance that could only grow in the soil of struggle, planting seeds of strength that pain alone could water. And now the laughter of heaven falls, like rain upon those buried. Seeds, awakening the harvest of your breakthrough, turning every moment you thought was wasted into the solid foundation of your next victory. I know the ache of delay, the heaviness of unanswered prayers, the sting of watching others celebrate while you wait in shadows. Yet even there, in that fragile in-between, God's whisper remains constant. Wait, trust my timing. For looking back, I see how he wasn't denying me but protecting me, how every closed door was mercy disguised, how every postponed dream was a divine pause to prepare me for blessings I wasn't yet ready to carry, how every unseen season was stretching my roots deeper for the harvest ahead. And chosen one, this same truth is written over your life. What felt like wasted years were holy years. Years where heaven was constructing your foundation in silence, and now that laughter resounding through. The heavens is the announcement that the construction phase is complete and manifestation is near. The walls that confined you are beginning to tremble. The ceilings that limited you are cracking open. The doors that resisted you are unlocking with divine force. And the very atmosphere is shifting to make room for what you were born to walk into. For heaven's laughter is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of movement, the declaration that what was hidden will now be revealed, that what was growing in darkness will now bloom in light, and that the moment heaven laughs, destiny begins to unfold with unstoppable momentum. Do not overlook this, chosen one, for your quiet obedience in hidden places has built momentum in the visible world. The prayers you prayed through tears are rising as fragrance before the throne. The sacrifices you made without applause are echoing louder than the cheers of crowds. And forgiveness you gave without recognition is now speaking in eternity. Heaven laughs because God sees the sacred beauty of those unseen moments weaving perfectly into the pattern of your purpose. Remember Joseph, forgotten in prison, abandoned by those he helped, unseen by the world yet fully known by God. Every hidden day was preparation for palace. Every moment of silence was a divine countdown, and when the time was right, God elevated him in an instant. That chosen one is what heaven's laughter means for you. It is a sound of divine acceleration, the signal that your preparation has matured, the decree that your season has shifted, and the celestial announcement that your waiting was never in vain. For the laughter of God is heaven's way of saying, now is the time, rise, for your destiny has awakened. It is the sign, chosen one, that your quiet faithfulness, your hidden labor, your unseen endurance is about to collide with public favor. You may still feel invisible to the world's eyes, still wonder if anyone recognizes the silent weight you've carried through lonely nights and endless waiting. But heaven has seen every tear, counted every sigh, recorded every step of obedience. Not one moment of pain has been wasted. Not one act of faith has gone unnoticed. And now, heaven's laughter resounds like a trumpet, announcing a shift. It is harvest time. Carry yourself differently now, with the calm confidence of someone divinely backed. This isn't pride. This is sacred assurance. When you know the King of Heaven has laughed over your life, you stop walking timidly. You no longer shrink to fit into spaces too small for your calling. You stop apologizing for the oil that glows upon your life. You cease chasing fragile approval from men, and instead stand tall in the unshakable approval of God himself. His laughter has already sealed your victory. It is a divine signature stamped over your story. Listen closely, anointed one. The laughter of God is not soft amusement. It is heaven's weapon. It carries authority. It shakes the enemy's foundation. It tears through darkness with power. It is a thunderous sound that dismantles demonic strategy, confuses wicked plans, and overturns every plot drawn against your destiny. The adversary thought he had you figured out. He believed he had mapped your triggers, memorized your fears, and anticipated your downfall. But heaven laughed because you did something he never expected. You chose faith where fear once ruled. You stood when the enemy expected you to fall. You worshiped while wounded. That single decision rewrote your ending. I've witnessed this myself. Moments when I thought I was breaking, but heaven was actually rejoicing. Moments when I believed I was stuck, but God was already laughing because he saw the turning point I couldn't yet perceive. That same divine laughter is echoing over your life right now, proclaiming that your delay has turned into acceleration, that what looks unfinished to you is already perfected in his sight. Chosen one, the laughter of God is not a conclusion. It is a beginning. It should awaken something deep in your spirit, stirring dreams you buried, reviving faith you thought had faded. Let it rekindle your expectation. Don't let disappointment blur your vision. Don't let fatigue silence your hope. For if God has laughed, the outcome is already settled. The battle has been decided. The only mystery that remains is when the victory will unfold, and heaven's laughter means soon. So step boldly, anointed one. Heaven is not demanding perfection. It is responding to your faith. Don't despise small starts. Don't belittle trembling obedience, for even the faintest yes holds the power to unlock destiny. Every whispered prayer holds weight. Every unseen act of trust plants a seed, and each seed carries a future harvest. Lift your eyes, chosen one. The atmosphere has changed. The spiritual season has turned. Heaven is celebrating over you. The laughter of God now echoes through eternity, announcing that what tried to bury you will soon become the soil that blesses you. Carry this truth deep within. Let it steady you when doubt rises. Let it silence the inner war that whispers defeat. Because when heaven has already laughed, your victory cannot be reversed. Understand this. The laughter of heaven is not mere sound. It is divine vibration, shaking realms both seen and unseen. When God laughs, storms lose their roar. When God laughs, walls crumble without warning. When God laughs, mountains bow before his word. His laughter is never random. It is a proclamation from eternity, a decree from the throne, announcing that the tide has turned, that the story has been rewritten, and that every force that once worked against you now serves your elevation. You are stepping into a chapter written by the laughter of God, and chosen one. That means your time has come. Anointed one. This is why your destiny cannot be confined by human timelines or earthly clocks. The calendars of men are fragile things, shifting, temporary, and bound by dust. But heaven's calendar is eternal, flawless, and immovable. You are not delayed. You are not forgotten. You are not behind. The laughter of God is the evidence that your appointed hour has arrived. Nothing can block it, nothing can cancel it, and nothing can overturn what is already decreed. His laughter is heaven's signature, an eternal stamp announcing that the season has shifted, that alignment has taken place, that divine timing has finally collided with destiny. I know what it feels like to wait in silence, to pray through tears that seem unanswered, to watch others celebrate while you remain in the shadows. I know the ache of believing you were overlooked, yet I also know the joy that floods the soul when God finally moves, suddenly, powerfully, and unmistakably. When I look back, I can see now. Delay was never denial. Silence was never abandonment. The hidden years were not punishment. They were protection. God was not withholding. He was preparing. He was expanding the walls of my faith to carry blessings far heavier than I could once hold. When his timing arrived, his laughter echoed through my spirit, and suddenly everything made sense. Every pause had purpose. Every tear was training. Every delay was design. Chosen one, your hidden years have been holy classrooms of preparation. Every whispered prayer was a seed planted deep in unseen soil. Every tear that fell watered the ground of destiny. Every unseen act of obedience enriched the roots of promise. And now heaven's laughter is the sound of soil breaking open. The harvest is rising. What you thought was buried forever has begun to bloom. What once seemed invisible is now becoming undeniable. Heaven rejoices because a release has begun and the promise is unfolding before your eyes. Anointed one, remember Sarah. She laughed when she heard God's promise, It seemed absurd, impossible, too late. But God's laughter was louder. He was never intimidated by her doubt. His word stood firm, and just as Sarah held Isaac, the evidence of divine faithfulness, you too will hold in your hands what God has spoken over your life. Heaven laughs because impossibility has surrendered to divine certainty. So, chosen one, live as if the promise has already arrived. Pray as if the answer is already released. Speak as though the blessing is resting in your grasp. Walk as though every door has already opened before you. God's laughter is not a mere sound. It is confirmation. It is a decree that creation has already responded to his word. It declares that your future is established, your destiny unshakable, your steps ordered. I have lived through seasons that felt final, moments that looked like endings. I have buried dreams I thought were gone forever. I have stood before closed doors that refused to move. Yet, when I least expected it, God moved suddenly. Provisions surfaced from places I couldn't see. Divine connections formed in ways I couldn't plan. New paths emerged where there were none. And in that stillness, I realized heaven had been laughing all along, announcing victory before I could perceive it. Anointed one, let that laughter steady your soul. You may feel unworthy, but heaven has already qualified you. You may feel invisible, but heaven has already celebrated you. You may feel weak, but God has wrapped you in his strength. Stop dismissing your progress. Stop underestimating your faithfulness. Heaven's laughter is a reminder that you are not ordinary. You are chosen, approved, and anointed. Never forget this truth. Heaven does not laugh over wasted stories. If God is laughing, it means redemption is already at work. It means your scars will soon tell stories of healing. Your tears will become streams of renewal. Your pain will transform into power. His laughter is not mockery. It is majesty. It is heaven's decree that your purpose cannot be erased. What the enemy built to bury you has become the very ground of your blessing. Anointed one, understand this. Your breakthrough was never meant to stop with you. It carries weight far beyond your own life. The doors that open for you will swing wide for others. Your obedience becomes a bridge for those who have lost their way. Your endurance becomes a lifeline for weary souls. Your faith lights a spark in hearts that were close to giving up. Heaven laughs because God already sees the ripple of your yes. He sees generations shifting, stories rewritten, and destinies realigned because you refuse to collapse. So rise now in holy confidence, chosen one. This is not pride. It is divine agreement. You are not crawling toward victory. You are walking in one already finished. Heaven's laughter dismantles every lie, shatters curses, and crushes every scheme of darkness. His joy is louder than fear. His decree stronger than doubt. His laughter is a final verdict, the sound that silences every opposing voice. So lift your head, anointed one. The King has laughed over your life. Carry that sound deep within your spirit. Let it still every trembling thought. Let it drown out insecurity. Let it remind you, again and again, that when heaven laughs, the ending has already been written, sealed, secure, and unstoppable. The laughter of heaven is your covering, your courage, and your crown. Chosen one, that laughter does not fade. It echoes. It travels. It reverberates through eternity. It is not a fleeting moment of joy, but an eternal declaration. When God laughs, that sound moves like a wave through creation, shaking what was built against you, breaking old cycles, and laying new foundations beneath your feet. His joy becomes propulsion. His delight becomes the wind at your back. His sound does not stay confined to heaven. It fills the atmosphere around you with divine motion and momentum. Anointed one, never underestimate what one single act of faith can release. You may call it small, but heaven calls it seismic. You may think it was unseen, but heaven celebrates it openly. Your yes carries eternal significance. Your prayer shifts atmospheres. Your obedience carries divine weight. God laughs because he sees what the enemy cannot. The chain reaction your step of faith has set in motion. The enemy's designs are unraveling, thread by thread, undone by what he never expected. Your persistence. I know this by experience. I've been in the quiet places, praying prayers that felt too faint to reach the sky. I've whispered words that sounded like they vanished into air. But later, Heaven showed me. Those whispers thundered in the spirit realm. My smallest act of obedience carried waves of breakthrough far beyond my sight. People were restored, provision appeared, doors opened, and in those moments, I could almost hear the laughter of heaven rejoicing over the hidden power released through fragile faith. Chosen one, you won't always feel strong. You won't always see instant results. But heaven doesn't measure by sight. It measures by faith. A single seed of belief planted in weakness can bloom into a forest of transformation. One trembling yes can undo generations of darkness. That's why God laughs, not because your step was flawless, but because your faith was real. Anointed one, never forget this. The enemy watches you closely. He studies your patterns, your emotions, your habits. He sets traps based on your past reactions, expecting you to fall into the same despair, the same silence, the same surrender. But today, you broke the cycle. You did the unexpected. You forgave when bitterness seemed safer. You prayed when fear whispered, quit. You stood when collapse felt inevitable. That one act overturned the entire strategy of hell. You made the unexpected move, and heaven laughed in victory. Heaven laughed because the trap collapsed and the enemy's strategy fell apart. Chosen one, recognize the prophetic power in breaking patterns. Heaven celebrates not just a result, but the very moment you refuse to repeat old cycles. Every time you choose faith over fear, every time you keep stepping forward despite trembling, heaven laughs. Each act of courage, however small, stirs the realms of the spirit. Heaven rejoices. Heaven laughs. His laughter is a soundtrack of your perseverance. I can attest to this. There were seasons where I faced the same battles over and over, cycles that seemed endless. But the moment I decided to respond differently, everything shifted. It wasn't always visible to the eyes of the world, but in the spiritual realm, chains broke, atmospheres changed, and the laughter of God carried me into new seasons. One decision to break the pattern is enough to release unseen momentum. Anointed one, this is your hour. God's laughter is more than joy. It is prophetic. It declares acceleration. It signals doors swinging open. It announces momentum shifting in your favor. You are not here merely to survive. You are here to advance. You are not here just to endure. You are here to overflow. Heaven that laughed yesterday is still laughing today because your future is already unfolding in victory. Chosen one, do not despise the small beginnings. Do not discount the trembling yes. Do not measure your path by the loudness of others or the brightness of their spotlight. Heaven is not impressed with noise. Heaven responds to faithfulness, depth, and sincerity. One hidden act of integrity outweighs 100 empty performances. One quiet prayer can shake what thousands of speeches cannot. That is why the laughter of God matters. It reveals what truly counts. Consider the joy of a parent watching a child take their first step. They do not demand perfection. They do not criticize the wobble. They rejoice in the courage to move. That is how heaven sees you, not frustrated by imperfection, but celebrating your faithfulness. The laughter of God is his applause for your persistence, your willingness to keep stepping forward despite fear. Heaven's laughter is louder than the lies of hell. Let it silence every whisper of doubt. Let it cancel every accusation of failure. Let it dismantle every prediction of defeat. If heaven has already celebrated your obedience, the outcome is already secured. Victory is not a possibility. It is destiny. Anointed one, carry this truth with you. Heaven does not wait for the finish line to celebrate. It celebrates your faith now, your courage now, your obedience now. Every step you take releases heaven's sound into your atmosphere. That sound protects you, strengthens you, and confirms your destiny until the promise manifests visibly in your life. Walk boldly, chosen one. You are not walking alone. You are moving to the rhythm of heaven's laughter. You are not striving for approval. You already have it. You are not hoping for victory. You are walking in one already sealed. The King has laughed over your life, and his laughter is your strength, your confidence, your covering, and your crown. Hear this, chosen one. Heaven responds not to noise, applause, or spectacle. It responds to truth, sincerity, and faithfulness. One whispered yes from a trembling heart carries more weight in heaven than 1,000 public declarations. One hidden act of obedience outweighs performance done for applause. You may feel unnoticed, but heaven leans in close. You may feel ordinary, but God has already marked you extraordinary. Stop diminishing yourself. Stop believing your obedience only matters when others see it. Stop comparing your path to the highlight reels of others. Heaven does not measure noise. It measures depth. And today, you have revealed depth. Maybe you felt unseen. Maybe you felt invisible. Maybe it seemed that nothing you did mattered. But even survival is testimony. Every breath you take declares, I am still here. Every step you take whispers, the plan against me has failed. And every time you rise and choose to keep going, heaven rejoices. They are still standing. Chosen one, your resilience has been underestimated. You walked through battles so long that your own strength feels invisible to you. But hear this truth. What sought to destroy you has failed. That alone makes your life a living testimony of victory. You may not yet see the full picture, but every scar is evidence of survival. Every act of endurance is a prophecy of acceleration to come. And now heaven declares that your season is shifting. This is no longer about mere survival. This is a season of momentum. This is a season of acceleration. When God laughs, it is never passive. His laughter signals that the tide has turned in your favor. It marks the arrival of your appointed season. It means the very ground beneath you is preparing to bring forth fruit from every seed you planted in tears. Anointed one, this is why your spirit has been restless. This is why you feel a stirring, an urgency, a sense that something greater is moving around you. The laughter of heaven is never quiet. It stirs the atmosphere. It shakes timelines. It draws breakthroughs from the unseen into the present. And it began because you said yes when saying no would have been easier. Picture like a stone dropped into still water. At first, it seemed small, a simple splash, but then the ripples spread outward, reaching farther and wider than you could imagine. Every small step of obedience has been a stone cast into eternity. The step you took today, the one you thought unnoticed, sent ripples to heaven's courts. Angels were dispatched. Chains began to loosen. Doors that were closed started to respond. Seeds buried long ago began to stir with life. Chosen one, you may not yet see it all, but you will. Heaven never laughs without reason. God does not celebrate without cause. That laughter carried weight, promise, and declaration. It announced that the battle is already shifting in your favor. This is a truth you must carry close. If God is laughing, stop doubting. Stop doubting timing, strength, or worth. If heaven has already celebrated your obedience, victory is no longer a question of if. It is only a matter of when. Anointed one. You may have been taught to celebrate only at the finish line, but heaven celebrates at the first step. Heaven honors faithfulness in the process, not just the outcome. The journey itself is sacred. The progress itself is holy. When you understand this, you stop carrying the burden of not yet and begin walking with the confidence of already chosen. That understanding changes everything. You no longer chase unstable approval from others. You walk in the unshakable approval of God. With this confidence, nothing can intimidate you. No enemy lie can silence you. No delay can shake you. No rejection can define you. The King has laughed, and his laughter has already sealed your outcome, chosen one. Remember this. God saw you today. He saw the hidden effort, the trembling obedience, the fragile yes. He saw it all and rejoiced. That laughter means your story is not stuck. That laughter means your obedience carries more power than you realize. That laughter means the outcome has already been rewritten in your favor. Carry that sound within your spirit. The Creator of all things has leaned back on his throne, smiling, laughing over your life. Let that sound drown out every doubt. Let it silence every whisper that tells you are behind. If the King is laughing, the ending is already determined. And chosen one, that ending is victory. When heaven laughs, it is never shallow or meaningless. It is not simply a moment of joy. It is authority and prophecy. God does not laugh randomly. His laughter is decree. His laughter is a seal. His laughter is proof that your obedience has already shifted what you cannot yet see. What felt ordinary carried eternal weight. What you thought was survival has become evidence that you are unstoppable in Him, anointed one. Understand this. Heaven's laughter is not only about you, it is also about what God will release through you. Heaven laughs because your testimony will become a blueprint for others. Heaven laughs because your scars will heal those still bleeding. Heaven laughs because your yes is larger than your imagination, touching lives and generations you may never meet. God's laughter proves your destiny is greater than your personal story. The enemy feared this truth, which is why he tried to silence you. He knew that once you overcame, your story would set others free. He sought to bury you in shame, convincing you that your voice had no value. He tried to make you believe your prayers were too weak to matter. Yet heaven laughed because God had already seen the ripple effect your persistence would create. Every prayer carried thunder. Every act of endurance shook the foundations of darkness. I know this truth personally. There was a time when all I had left was endurance. I told myself, if I can just survive, maybe that will be enough. But later I realized that people were watching in silence. They saw me continue when giving up would have been easier, and they drew courage from your yes. They found strength in your scars. In that very moment, I realized your survival was never only for you. It became a breakthrough for others. Heaven laughed because one act of obedience sent a river of blessing flowing into countless lives. Chosen one, your life is a living sermon. Your scars preach louder than polished speeches. Your endurance is a testimony etched into eternity. Your breakthrough is a blueprint for others. This is why heaven rejoices. What once appeared as failure has been transformed into wisdom. What once seemed like defeat has become a weapon. The valleys you endured are now maps guiding others through their own journeys. Every step you took is proof that God is faithful, and heaven delights in that truth. Anointed one. Heaven's laughter also signals divine transfer. What was stolen will be returned with increase. What was withheld will be released in fullness. Heaven rejoices because provision is shifting. Opportunities are aligning. Influence is being redirected to those who remain faithful when no one applauded. This is not coincidence. It is covenant. Heaven's laughter is the sound of supernatural redistribution. Chosen one, when doors swing open, step through boldly. These are not accidents. They are assignments. Heaven laughs because the path was prepared before you even saw it. No barrier can hold you back. No wall can remain standing. His laughter means the way has already been cleared. His laughter means the keys are already in your hands. I know the doubts that rise in such seasons. I have asked them myself, why me? Am I really chosen? Do I deserve this? But God reminded me, it was never about deserving. It has always been about surrender. Heaven does not laugh because you earned it. Heaven laughs because you agreed to carry it. Your obedience holds eternal weight. Your yes has already broken generational chains and released freedom that will echo long after you. Anointed one. Remember this as well. God's laughter is warfare. It destabilizes the strategies of darkness. It mocks the futility of hell's schemes. It proclaims that this battle is already won. Heaven laughs because the enemy overplayed his hand. What was meant to bury you has become the soil of your blessing. What was designed to silence you has amplified your voice. What was intended to break you has made you unshakable. Chosen one, let this truth anchor you. If God is laughing, you can rest. If God is laughing, you can trust. His laughter is not careless. It is covenantal. It is the eternal decree that he has already seen the ending, and that ending is victory. His laughter is louder than fear, greater than doubt, stronger than every whisper of insecurity. So rise, anointed one. This season is not about surviving. It is about overflowing. It is not about hiding. It is about being unveiled. It is not about delay. It is about manifestation. Heaven laughs because your mantle is too weighty to remain hidden. Your authority is too powerful to remain unheard. Your influence is too vast to be confined. Chosen one, carry heaven's laughter as your anthem. Let it silence fear. Let it crush comparison. Let it steady your soul. When doubt whispers again, step forward in confidence, knowing that heaven has already celebrated you. The decree is spoken. The outcome is settled. The laughter of the king is your covering, your confidence, and your eternal crown, chosen one. Hear this clearly. The laughter of heaven is not a faint echo fading into silence. It is a living roar of eternity, the sound of God's triumph reverberating through creation. When the Father laughs, it is not amusement. It is decree. It is power. His laughter announces the certainty of victory before your natural eyes can see it. His laughter shakes unseen realms and declares that every scheme of darkness has already collapsed. His joy is the assurance that your destiny is sealed in triumph, anointed one. His laughter is alive, right now. It is not limited to yesterday's victories or tomorrow's promises. It is surrounding you as a shield this very moment. When God laughs, angels are dispatched. Locked doors swing open. Chains you thought permanent break into pieces. His laughter shifts atmospheres and commands alignment. It is the sound of acceleration. It is heaven declaring that the blessing has left his throne and is racing toward your life. I know the weight of silence. I know the ache of waiting. I have sat through nights when prayers felt unanswered and hope seemed fragile. I questioned whether heaven had turned away. Yet when breakthrough came, suddenly I understood heaven had never been silent. God had been laughing all along. His laughter was never mocking. It was protective. His joy proved that the delay was designed. The waiting was preparation. And what seemed wasted was actually working for my good. His laughter meant I was never abandoned, only hidden until the appointed time. Chosen one. Your survival is not small. It is prophecy in motion. Every breath is testimony. Every step proclaims to hell. The plan has failed. The enemy designed your collapse with precision. But here you are. You prayed when you felt empty. You forgave when bitterness seemed safer. You hoped when despair pressed hard. And in every act, heaven celebrated. Your persistence, your faithfulness, your yes has shifted destiny. The laughter of God is living proof. What the enemy intended for harm, God has turned into blessing. Each step you took shook the invisible realms. Every act of faith stirred heaven's delight. Heaven laughs because the one they thought would crumble still stands crowned in triumph. Beloved anointed, his laughter is not merely celebration of endurance. It is a signal of multiplication. You are not just reclaiming what was lost. You are walking into overflow. What once lay barren will blossom again. What was shattered will rise stronger than before. What seemed delayed will unfold suddenly. Heaven rejoices because your inheritance is not emptiness, but abundance. Your portion is not scarcity, but overflow, pressed down, shaken together, running over. His laughter is divine evidence that lack cannot be your ending. Fullness is your birthright. So release the echoes of yesterday's shame. Stop replaying old scenes of regret. Heaven's laughter drowns out guilt. It silences condemnation. You are not chained to what was. You're not defined by wounds or weighed by weakness. You are chosen, redeemed, anointed, and appointed. Heaven laughs because your name is carved into eternity's book, and no hand can erase it. I too have wrestled with the voice of unworthiness. I too have whispered, "Why me? Am I enough?" But the Lord replied, it was never about perfection. It was always about surrender. Heaven does not laugh because you reach flawless performance. Heaven laughs because you yielded your yes. That single act carried eternal weight. That obedience redirected timelines. That faith planted seeds that will bloom long after your shadow fades. Your surrender has rewritten storylines you cannot yet see. This is why his laughter never ends, because it is grounded in covenant, not performance. Anointed one, remember, his laughter is also warfare. It tears down strongholds. It mocks the futility of the enemy's devices. It declares to all darkness, it is finished. Heaven laughs because the weapons aimed at you misfired. Heaven laughs because curses turn into blessings. Heaven laughs because every pit dug for you became a well of provision. Heaven laughs because what was meant to break, you only proved your endurance. Chosen one, let that sound saturate your spirit. Let it become your song. Carry it through the night when fear creeps close. Carry it into the dawn when doubt whispers low. If God is laughing, you can rest. If God is laughing, you can trust. If God is laughing, you can move boldly, knowing the end is already written in victory. His joy shields you. His laughter is your confidence. His delight is your crown. Rise now, anointed one. Pray as though the promise is already in your hands. Speak as though the door stands open. Move as though the crown already graces your head. You are not chasing victory. You are advancing from it. You are not begging for validation. You are walking in approval already granted. The King's laughter surrounds you. It carries you, covers you, confirms you. Lift your head, chosen one. The delay has expired. The testimony is alive. The story is still unfolding, but heaven already calls it triumph. You are chosen. You are anointed. You are destined for victory. As this word concludes, feel the vibration of heaven's laughter resting upon you. The King has smiled. The throne has moved. Your name has been spoken. That laughter was not random. It was a sound of divine timing unlocking your appointed moment. What you prayed in secret has stirred the heavens. What you whispered through tears has been written as triumph. This is not your ending. It is a turning of your next chapter. The divine exchange has already begun. Doors are aligning. Blessings are converging. Breakthrough is in motion. The ground that once felt like your grave is now your garden. The tears you sowed in silence are rising as harvest in abundance. So walk forward with holy confidence. Stand tall in gratitude. The author of your destiny is laughing over you with joy. His delight is your strength. His laughter your shield. His promise your inheritance. Stay faithful. Stay aligned. Keep saying yes, even when the step feels small. Every act of obedience echoes in eternity. Chosen one, I bless you with courage for the unseen road, peace for every battle, and vision for what lies beyond the visible. Share this word with those whose spirits need awakening. And if your heart bears witness, declare it aloud. I receive this victory. Go now in confidence. The King has laughed, and your victory is secure.